from a moon. Elvis ain't dead, you ain't going crazy, it's all in your head.
So listen to this, okay, listen.
This vast right-wing conspiracy.
Politicians are all talk, no action.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
Wrong.
During my service in the United States Congress, I took the initiative in creating the internet.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far.
Sit down.
If I were a single man, I might ask that mommy out.
He's a nasty guy. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes him anywhere once they get to know him.
Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Hi, this is Dave Mack. Thanks for joining us today. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to do you a favor today. I'm going to do you a solid. Here's how it's going to work. The media and politicians lie some more to push their own agenda. Right now, it's all about Russian collusion, right? That Donald Trump hired the Russians to hack the DNC email servers and get all that information out to WikiLeaks. Didn't happen that way. The reality is Seth Rich, a 27-year-old insider at the DNC, saw what they were doing, saw that it was wrong, and he released the info to WikiLeaks. After they had him murdered, they then built this whole story of Russian collusion. Seth Rich was 27, dead. His murder investigation never really happened, and it still hasn't been solved. Meanwhile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to step down from the DNC when it was found out that she was working to help Hillary win, and they replaced Debbie Wasserman Schultz with who? Donna Brazile. Well, Donna Brazile was found out in those same emails that she, too, was helping Hillary, although she was at the time employed by CNN. So the Democrats lie some more. But the Republicans don't do themselves many favors either. Let me show you how this worked before. Right now, it's Donald Trump and the Russians, right? And, I mean, they've spent millions of dollars and hundreds of hours on television selling this bill of goods to the American people, and half the people believe it to be true. Do you remember what did Obama and the Democrats do with the mortgage fiasco? When our economy almost collapsed. They blame Bush, right? Blame Bush. It was the Bush economy. Obama inherited it. Whatever. Total lie. I want you to listen. I put together a mortgage timeline. It'll show you what really happened, and that is this. Here's your thumbnail. September of 99, Bill and Hillary Clinton apply for a mortgage and get turned down because they got bad credit and no money. It was only now Governor Terry McAuliffe of Virginia who loaned them the money to buy the house in Chappaqua so Hillary could be appointed. Well, she ran for office, but yeah, anybody believe that was a real election? She became a United States Senator, then Secretary of State, then candidate for the presidency. Totally walked through the whole thing. Biggest criminal of all time. The mortgage timeline, though, the mortgage crisis began with Bill and Hillary Clinton. After they were denied a loan, they announced to the world they were telling Fannie and Freddie to buy up loans written to people with bad credit and no money. Well, here's what really happened. It crashed our entire system. And there was one man warning everybody about it. That was George W. Bush. There were plenty of other people saying he's trying to create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. Take a listen to this.
The Bush administration raised red flags starting in April 2001. The 02 budget request declares that the size of mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is, quote, a potential problem because financial trouble in either one of them could, quote, cause strong repercussions in financial markets. In 2003, the White House warning about Fannie and Freddie was upgraded to a systemic risk that could spread beyond just the housing sector. In fall of 03, the Bush administration was pushing Congress hard to create a new federal agency to regulate and supervise Fannie and Freddie, both government-sponsored enterprises or GSEs.
We need a strong, world-class regulatory agency to oversee the prudential operations of the GSEs and the safety and the soundness of their financial activities.
But then Treasury Secretary Snow was getting a lot of pushback from then-ranking member, now chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, Democratic Congressman Barney Frank.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not in a crisis.
In fact, Frank said the federal government should be encouraging Fannie and Freddie to do more to get low-income families into homes. And he believed too many people had a sky-is-falling mentality.
The more people, in my judgment, exaggerate a threat of safety and soundness, the more people conjure up the possibility of serious financial losses to the Treasury, which I do not see. I think we see entities that are fundamentally sound financially and withstand some of the disaster scenarios. And even if there were a problem, the federal government doesn't bail them out. But the more pressure there is there, then the less I think we see in terms of affordable housing.
The legislation was blocked. In 2005, Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan added his voice on Fannie and Freddie after Fannie leaders admitted major accounting screw-ups. Quote, enabling these institutions to increase in size, and they will once the crisis in their judgment passes, we are placing the total financial system of the future at a substantial risk. Later at another hearing on the topic,
if we fail to GSE regulation, we increase the possibility of insolvency and crisis.
But the two mortgage giants had staunch defenders. Democratic Senator Charles Schumer said, quote, I think Fannie and Freddie over the years have done an incredibly good job and are an intrinsic part of making America the best housed people in the world. If you look over the last 20 or whatever years, they've done a very, very good job. Senator John McCain co-sponsored legislation pushing for regulation, delivering a speech on the Senate floor in 2006. Quote, for years I have been concerned about the regulatory structure that governs Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And the sheer magnitude of these companies and the role they play in the housing market, the GSEs need to be reformed without delay. That bill made it out of the Senate Banking Committee with a party line vote. All of the Democrats voted against it, but fearing that they didn't have the votes to pass it, Republicans didn't even bring it up on the Senate floor.
So there you have it. You've got Barney Frank and all of the Democrats saying, no, everything's just fine. There's no problem with anything. That was the entire 8 years of the Bush years, okay? It started with Bill and Hillary Clinton. The Democrats defended it. When it crashed and burned, they blamed it on Bush. That's how we ended up with 8 years of Obama and more lies and lies and lies. The reason I'm showing this to you now is because they're doing the same thing with Donald Trump and collusion. They have zero proof of anything because it didn't happen. Oh, they'll talk about it. They'll talk about, oh, we got all the, where there's smoke, there's got to be fire. Well, not when you're the one smoking. They're sitting around, they're hitting the bong or something. They're creating all this smoke, and then they're acting like that's the story. I'm telling you, friends, we've been scammed, we've been lied to, and the truth remains this.
But Mr. Clapper then went on to say that to his knowledge, there was no evidence of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. We did not conclude any evidence in our report. And when I say our report, that is the NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between the members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that in our report. Was Mr. Clapper wrong when he said that?
I think he's right about characterizing the report, which you all have read.
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
The mortgage crisis was the Democrats. The mortgage crisis was they almost crashed our economy. And when they did, they defended all their actions, and then they blamed Bush when it went bad. And the media helped. Now they're doing the same thing with Trump and this Russian collusion. It was the Democrats who claimed they were hacked. They were never hacked, friends. Ever. You know, when they talk about the only proof of the smoking gun or any of the, well, there's smoke here, Dave. Well, you know, the smoke is that the Democrats claim the Russians hacked their email server. That's their claim. There's no proof because they wouldn't let anybody look.
Do you have evidence that there was, in fact, collusion between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign?
Not at this time.
It's like calling the police and saying, hey, police, I've had a break-in at my house. The police show up to investigate, and you say, okay, our safe was broken into, we lost $1 million in cash, $2 million in jewels, and all the keys to all of our cars and our guns. And they say, well, okay, we're going to have to come in and do the little investigation, and you stop them at the front door and say, no, you can't come in. Well, excuse me, Mr. Mack, but we need to take fingerprints, and we need to look around and see what happened. No, you cannot come in. But I'm telling you, I lost all the cash, the guns, the jewels. I lost all that. They broke into my safe. It was my next door neighbor because he doesn't like me. He broke in. And no, you don't need to see anything. You just need to trust me. You need to trust. That's what the Democrats have said. No, FBI, you cannot look at our stuff. No, you can't have the computers. No, you can't have the servers. You can't have anything. But we said it happened. Therefore, you have to believe us. That's all the smoke running through all of this. Do you understand that, friends? All of the smoke where they say there might be fire, it's from the Democrats claiming something, but offering up zero proof and not allowing for any investigation. I'm telling you, people need to go to jail for this, and you and I need to be set free from this tyranny right now.